So, today I thought we will do something entirely different. As you can see, of course we are on last week's material again. And okay, I thought of instead of creating something entirely from scratch, okay, we can do something, modify this to make this into an entirely new substance. Okay, because there's no reason to always work from scratch. Okay, obviously we have procedural tools just so that we can reuse all of them. Of course, we can take a lot of these parts and create them into their own substance. Okay, so we can reuse them and have a library of effects, but okay, this is that's something to worry about another day. So what I'm thinking is, let's take this and try to make it into a cobblestone. We have most of the stuff we're going to need. Okay, and I guess that's why we will want to turn this into a cobblestone, because we already have bigger rocks and we have even smaller rocks, and we're going to get rid most of the ground. So let's see, because I want, for starters, or yeah, I guess we can work with this. But let's just get rid of the grass color that will not work with what we have right here. Okay, because obviously the yellow parts wouldn't be any reason to have them, since we're going to just remove the needles. So I'm just taking out the color, and let's find the needles, which is this, and we're adding them. Let's remove them entirely from a normal map, and of course, or actually, just to be sure that we take them from everywhere, let's delete all of this, and let's see where we have problems. Okay, we're deleting them from the roughness, at least for now. We won't need anything, and this is redundant, so we delete this, and this is also redundant, but let's delete this first. Remove this, hook this back up. Okay, we're going to just go again with this, so do not worry if you missed this. This basically just clearing out references, and in turn we clear also our graph a little bit. And I think we are good. So we already have bigger tiles, and we also have the smaller tiles, and we will eventually work something with the ground so that it's not actual ground, so we'll make it something like mortar or cement, we will see, and rework a little bit the color. You can see that even without the needles, this can also be entirely something new. Now, of course, the first candidate to change will be, let's start with the bigger rocks, so let's copy paste them, just so that any change we do doesn't take too much until we have something we can use over here. We can see that we can raise the amount, but if we go way too much, we also make this smaller. So instead of doing that, we're going to raise, let's raise it, or better yet, let's leave it like this. Let's make this a random seed and see if we can get something. And I think this is enough. Now, the super fast way to do this will just be rotating it again, blend, let's see if let's see if this will give us something. I don't like that they touch that much. Oops, no tile. So let's see if we can rotate it somewhere that they are not hugging that much. I guess something like this. Let's say that this is going to go on top, this below. Let's see what this will give us. There's a few shapes that work and there's others that don't work that much. Let's try with a height blend. Okay, and let's see if we can separate them. I basically want to just get rid of a few shapes like this. Okay, so that we have a little bit more separation. If we cannot work it, we're going to try with the tile sampler next. Let's see. We have our height blend. We can offset the height, which is not bad. Okay, we're going, yeah, let's use this. And we can just take another one of these. Let's make a few bigger rocks. Let's change the random seed. This can work also. Let's go with height blend again. Let's see, height offset, we want the opposite, we want this and this. Okay, so the bigger rocks will be something like this. And let's see if we can isolate these smaller ones in case we do not want them. This will take more that we need. Let's leave these ones also. Color random, I believe we shouldn't really need to change that. Mount, size, it will be on size. Let's lower this all the way down. Still get, I think that should be scale, or probably not. Doesn't seem to do much. This will lower all of them. Okay, anyway, I can see that, oh, here it is. So we have all our rocks at this point. And okay, let's make them a little bit smaller, at least some of them. So I think it just goes too much. So let's leave this to this. Let's see, rotation random, let's keep it. Position, offsetting it won't do that much. And let's create again a random mask. Maybe something like this. And let's hook this up where this is, and let's see what this is going to do. You can see that it doesn't do that much because we also need to blend them further down the line. We have this. Max lighting is enough. And I think it's the ground that does that is the problem. We lower this, get nothing. So let's work with the ground. Instead of getting this, let's just use a fractal sum base. Okay, and for now let's just use histogram scan. Hook this up. We should get all our rocks now, and of course we have nothing on the ground. So we need even more rocks, as you can see. Again, let's take another save transform. Oops, we want the grayscale. Save transform grayscale. Let's make it symmetry. Let's rotate it somewhere like this. Let's use height blend. We can do height blend or just a regular blend. I want to spread these things around, so I'm going to rotate. Notice that I'm using the safe transform so that I know my tiles. Something like this feels enough. We can see what we want to use or to change. Let's make it maybe something like this. Let's try this. And I don't know if this is going to work. Okay. A lot more rocks to go with this. And yeah, we need a lot more rocks, or let's try to make them at least somehow the same level, somewhat same level. This is too much. Okay, that's not what we want. Let's use a normal blend mode. Where we have all our detail now, instead of just having the edges of, making the height blend separate. Okay, you can see that our rocks are significant more, and let's start blending a few of them back, or let's just see if we can just change from here. Let's throw this over here, and let's throw this over here. Okay, even more rocks. Now there is a few areas that have slight problems. Okay, these are too sharp, so we need to put a stance in them. That was a pun. So let's take another safe transform. Take one of these. Oops. Let's offset it this time. Let's rotate it. I like what this gives us, but let's blend them again. Let's see if this will give us something more interesting. I think we're getting there. Okay, we can have a lot of rocks, we can have, as you can see. Let's see what this is going to give us. Okay, even more rocks. At this point we could just stay here and work with the ground, and we could have something to work with. As you can see, it just works. Of course, we need to just fix some of the cracks issues we have, and yeah, we can do another, I believe we can do another layer again. Yeah, let's use height blend this time, because we start to get a few shapes that are pretty close to each other, which is not necessarily bad, but it's going to make it, just so that we cover most of the areas that are beneath, not everything on top. So let's add this over here, and we need to change this, of course. Let's offset it. Oops. I think this could be okay. I'm just trying to isolate you know, the darker areas. Let's rotate it also. Let's change the random seed. Well, not this. Yeah, this won't do anything. And let's try to, we want the opposite, I believe. Let's try this. Which is also not bad, as you can see. We have, we start to have cobblestone, and because we have already worked with the color, yeah, this works as it is. As you can see, that we can't say that it's finished, but since we have a lot of time, let's just keep working on it. And I can see that some issues with the cracks are resolved, like this doesn't go in all the necessary on the other rocks. But let's see what else we can add to this. Okay, and we have also the microsurface, and everything else on top comes for free. Now keep in mind that we are on 1K resolution. Okay, so we're going to get a lot of detail back when we raise the resolution. And you can see that if we just added more rocks. So we can come over here and we can keep adding more rocks to this also. And let's add the bigger ones since we have a lot of these ones. Let's add a few more of these. Okay, fairly simple. We have a lot more rocks, and you can see that all we did is just change a few parameters, and if we change the color, you probably will not even notice that it's an entirely different you know, material. Now let's take, what should we do? Yeah, let's work with our ground. We want something really basic. Okay, obviously we do not we want to cover most of this with you know, like it's paved cobblestone. And you can see, raising this, we also change where the actual ground is going to be. This is way too much. We want all our hardened rocks to show. So let's raise it and raise it. Something like this, I believe, should be enough. Now let's take this and let's start hooking it where we had. You can see we have added we've added a few rocks on top of this. So what we're going to do is take this and add this back here, and we can just take the ground base, put it over here. We also use this on the roughness. Okay, of course this is way too black for roughness for this, so let's just take the fractals on base, just so that we can reuse this, since this just goes on the roughness, but let's just delete it and use only the fractals on base. We can of course do a lot more on the ground, but you can see that it's only slightly a few cases, like it's only black spots at this point. There's fairly there's little places that we will need this, so yeah, let's not worry about it. See, this can work pretty fine. Now basically we have everything ready, as you can see. However, just for, you know, doing something different, let's work a little bit with the color. I can see that we still have a few areas that we might need to fix, but I love this kind of color on the rocks. I think looks pretty nice. So let's see what we can do with the cracks. I believe the cracks come from somewhere over here, and they do have here, and we are warping it with a Perlin noise. And what we can do, let's add a directional warp to this, and let's see if we get one of these, what's going to do. Let's raise we basically want to crack the pattern where where the rocks, where the bigger rocks are. And let's see if this will actually do anything. I don't know. Let's make this by 100. Of course, if we do a lot of this, it doesn't look that great, to be honest. We start to get the outline of our rocks, which we can actually use this to just have a little bit more separation, now that I think of it. So let's try it. So we're going to get the cracks to get a little bit more separation along the rocks. I don't know if it's going to work, but that's what we're here for. Okay, this comes directly from this node, but I think we could just reuse this one, so we separate all our rocks, although some of them might be just too little to be caught on that. Let's take this and let's just add it on top of it. Let's subtract even more, or let's just go full out subtract. Well, it started to give some striation at least. Okay, it didn't have the desired result that I wanted, but it also didn't give us something that we do not want to. Let's see if we change the direction, the angle. Yeah, this is somewhat a little bit better, where at least we know that there is no straight lines that go from one rock to the other. Okay. Well, okay, it's a little bit also, some rocks are a little bit too big to be cobblestone, but it could work just as regular rocks, I believe. And let's think of this a little bit more. Let's change the actual color so that it's a little bit different from the previous material we did. But yeah, and let's see if we can do a quick iteration on top of all of this and just reuse this without reusing any of this part. Now let's remove the stuff we're not going to need, which is the grass color. Okay, let's remove this, and this will be, move this. Okay, for the ground color, I can see that there's no green anywhere. Final one. So this, we won't need this. We're going to need only this. Let's take this. Let's take okay, removing the green will just you can see that it just removes the green from this one, and it kind of works, but I think instead of green, let's just try to raise the lightness and get something more grays or something like that, which was this. Okay, it starts to give a little bit more different colors than what you will have seen on a forest ground, for example. Let's take this, and I want something more mortal-like, so let's find something gray, or let's grays. This might be a little bit too black. Let's, instead of multiply, let's subtract. That's a little bit better. So we add a few light information on top of this. You can see in most cases it doesn't even show on the final one. We have a little bit of this that I do not care for. Let's saturate it, but let's play with the hue. But if we raise this also, okay, that's its way to let's desaturate it, and let's raise the lightness way up high. So it goes like an overall, it kind of whites out a little bit the design. Okay, so we have most colors except of the dirt that we will see on rocks. Obviously we can just keep adding a lot more information. And I think another layer of these smaller ones wouldn't actually be too bad. So let's go back and let's take this. Oops. Save transfer grayscale. Let's place it over here. Let's take another. Let's try blend for starters. Let's use max lighten, and let's rotate this. This will be better if we use this. Let's try and change the something like this, I guess could work. Okay, let's try this, and this will also be in here, and that actually didn't do anything because these are, yeah, we reached to the point I believe that this don't even make too much of a difference because that's a good question. Interesting. Let's see why. Let's go for coloring. Oh, let's add this over here. Now they kind of start to pop a little bit, at least on the normal map. Yeah. These are these very small rocks you see over here, but I want to have a little bit more of these smaller ones. So let's come back here. Let's see. So it's more of this, I believe. Or let's just take this exactly as they are. Let's make a few smaller ones. And let's go on the final one. Let's see if this will do anything. Let's go with max lighten so they sit even on top of the other shapes. Let's randomize a little bit the seed, see if we can utilize some of this to even make smaller of the black areas. And let's take all this, and we have even more. Now there's a few cases that doesn't work entirely, and this has to do with the directional warp, but it's actually not even that bad, I believe. yeah, we will see the direction where what we can change from there. So we get even more rocks. Okay, let's work a little bit with our dirt because it's way too much. Let's remove it. If we remove it, you can see that it just blends everything together, so there's no separation with it. Let's try, instead of adding, let's subtract, because this is way too black, and we can just change the, okay, so this will have been in a more sandy environment. I guess this will have been in somewhere pretty close to the sea, like this is the erosion from from waves or water. Let's go with this. I believe if we can make it. Okay, this isn't too bad. This is pretty nice, I believe. Or let's just try something else. Let's try minimum darken. We kinda get the same as before. Let's try max lighten. Max lighten will just wash everything, as you can see. Overlay. We just put it back up, and let's change the color. Okay, so we use white dirt. This is also not bad, of course it's a little bit too saturated. This kind of makes it more into a flatter area, or it gives the impression of that it's flatter, something that you might see on a road, or on medieval road or something like that. However, we lose a lot of information, I believe. So let's try, let's see, let's take this one also. Let's change a few stuff. Let's lower the dirt level. That's too much. Let's lower the grades amount. Let's play with the edge masking. Or let's use an edge. Let's start with edge metalware and we'll see what this will give us. Curvature and ambient occlusion. Yeah, this might be just too much. However, what if we use this over here? Okay, so we get more highlights. Lowering this will also work a little bit better. Or if we make it add linear dots, we can make it even more highlights. And I think I like the overlay. So we also make sure we have better values, I believe. Not really. Let's try with copy. Let's lower this to something like that now. Let's raise the edge smoothness, where contrast, where level, no. Now we're getting into more sharper detail. And let's play again with this. Multiply, of course, is going to darken them. Add sub. Kind of the same like the add linear, I believe. And add sub. Yeah, I believe. Okay, let's just work, since we've fixed the metal edgeware. Okay, let's just work with the overlay. And we now have two dirts. So we can just take all this, copy paste it, and blend another color before we blend everything else. And I think this is also redundant, so let's delete it. This was for the grass. And let's put it back up. Let's take the dirt again. Let's change to something like this. And let's see what this is going to do. Output it. Okay, we start to get even more color information in it. Which is not bad. I kinda want to get rid of some of the bigger shapes right now, to be honest. I feel that they do not work as much as they could work. But let's see. Oops, not blur. We do not want blur at this point. Let's take another blend. Let's take, oops, not here. We want here and here. And let's just take base color. Let's get something reddish to start with. Okay, of course we're not going to leave this like this. Let's separate a little bit the color for this. Let's get, what should we get? Let's make clouds 3. We have clouds 1 over here. It should have automatically add a gradient map anyway. Let's multiply for starters. Something like this. Let's try with this. Obviously it's too much because we're just copying it, but if we add linear or subtract, adds up kind of works a little bit better, or not that much. Let's be a little bit more subtle with this. We don't want that much of saturated value. Okay, you can see that I'm just looking at 1K because I'm really looking at how it reads from the distance. Obviously, if you can go way too close, nothing will look good. Okay, that's why I'm working at this far out. Basically, I want to just separate if I can notice it from the distance. It's like, you know, squinting to see the shapes that pop up, like you do in traditional painting. Doesn't seem to do anything. Let's try subtract. It's going to subtract this type, and yeah, let's use subtract with white, or that's just too much white, with gray, so it kind of starts to remove information. Let's see if this is going to work. Okay, yeah, I don't like it because it feels like it goes it adds shadows, which it's not necessarily something I want to do right now. Let's try with green. Let's try, yeah, let's go with something that looks like dirt. Like, let's go with this, and let's multiply, and let's leave it at this. Okay, we start to get a lot of nice separation between each one, which works nice, I believe. You can see that we do not have that much pointy shapes, pointy areas. We still have a few issues, and let's see if we can start to resolve some of this. So let's go back and let's place them. Where should we place them? Let's think. Let's try to lower some of this. And it starts to, it's not from this, I believe. Let's lower this entirely. Yeah, it's not that one, although this also works, as you can see. Oh yeah, it doesn't work at all, as you can see. So let's put them back up again, and let's see if we can isolate some more of this. Yeah, it could be from these ones. Yeah, it's probably these ones. Okay, we have even more stones, but they are a little bit more of well-preserved stones instead of sharper rocks. And so let's add a little bit back. Now, yeah, I think that fixes our problem with our bigger shapes, but let's see if we can still keep some of these and fix them, or I think it's time to go into a 2K resolution at least. Okay, what I did is basically I suspended the engine before I raise the resolution. If you do not suspend the engine, then when you're going to set the first one, and you're going to have to wait to rebuild everything, and you need to set again the other one, so you're waiting 2 times. If you suspend the engine and change it, then you only have to wait once to rebuild all of this. Of course, depending on the graph, depending on your machine. Okay, this can change a lot. And I see everything is up to 2K, so we are fine. Now, I do not want to make this to full screen because, yeah, I get that bug that I'm saying sometimes, that it just plugs out everything. Now there's a few stuff we have to resolve, I believe, and that will be those pointy things. So let's go back. Let's make this back down. The ground color, it should be from somewhere over here, these smaller shapes. Blend. Okay, so let's start from this one, since this is the first culprit, and let's go. Let's lower the randomness. Let's see the scale, and scale random, we can just make sure they are a little bit bigger. So this takes care of most of our smaller ones, but I can see we still have them because we also have them over here. I believe if we get rid of this, we only get, as you can see, the problematic ones, which are the ones pointing that are pointing that much. So what we can do is separate, and actually this is we're going to suspend the engine, because when I change this, it's going to have to rebuild everything, and I need to do a few things, which is place this over here and place this over here, and it's not going to update until we have unsuspended. So I'm just going to take this back to half. Okay, I'm just guessing, and then rerun the engine, and let's see what's going to do to our rocks. Okay, if we get rid of these pointy ones, I believe we're going to be fine. which we didn't. We still have a few of those. So let's get rid all of this. So let's take this, put it back up over here, and let's delete this one. So we have back all our rocks with the bigger ones and the smaller ones and everything. Okay, so I think we can call it a day. I believe this is enough. Of course we can keep working. We can add, I guess we can try and add a few more cracks on top of them. Let's try this before we do, or let's try to resolve the directional warp. As we can see, let's try something else, and let's take one of these again, blend. Let's just take the warp, since the directional warp just destroys it. Okay, let's take this, let's add subtract on top of this, and let's place it on top of that. We can see we have our cracks, and let's try to find them on the image. Okay, here's a bigger crack. Now this could just work also, since it just could, the thing that made the crack is just could drag along, something like that. But yeah, well, this you can remove it or not. Okay, it could be just natural striation, although this might be a little bit too circular. I'll leave it entirely up to you, since you cannot really even spot it. Or actually this one you can actually spot it. So let's try to fix this. And I think, oh yeah, let's, instead of getting this one, let's get only the bigger shapes. Let's take this and place it over here. So yeah, it's going to resolve into only bigger ones. And actually let's go from the top, so at least I have an idea where this is going to land, which this will be over here. And yeah, this is a little bit better. It doesn't read from far away as the previous one. So this could be enough. Let's try some other stuff. Rounded cylinder. Okay, this works. Let's try a sphere. Of course, that's not, it kind of stretches them, so we do not want that. Rounded cube. It works just fine. And let's go back to playing high res. And I believe we can just add another more layer onto the shapes that are on the ground. So let's go before we add the dirt. Okay, I talk about the bigger shapes, and let's just take this and create some color from this. And we also have the rock color, now that I see it, but we can just leave this the way it was on the previous one. Now I only want to check one thing though. Have a blend. Okay, here's my main concern, is that this is too uniform. So I'm going to, before I add this into the gradient map, I'm going to run it first through a grudge map. Let's see if we can find something interesting. This might be too extreme. Grudge map. This might also be too extreme. Let's go to the library. Let's find our noises. Let's take this. Let's try to do a non-uniform blur. And let's add this over here, and let's add this over here. I have no idea what it's going to do. It might soften this up too much. Let's just use this one instead. Maybe warp it. No, I wanna use barely noise zoom. Something like that. Let's try this. And what we want from this is, let's not subtract, let's try overlay. Yeah, the warp might not be ideal. Let's try this. Well, at least it breaks the main patterns, but it doesn't do that much on the color side. And let's subtract instead. It will make this all of it, I believe. Let's use this the way it was, and let's take all of this. Let's go further down the line, and let's take this. Let's add the gradient map. Let's add it over here, and let's take one of these. This might get a little bit too messy, or we can just take the curvature. Now that I think of it, we can take one of these, and let's try this through a gradient map, and take this up and use subtract, which doesn't do anything, but we care for. Multiply, that darkens it. Let's see, do we have an environment? Let's take one of that. Gradient map, gradient editor, and let's, where is it? Did I lost it? Let's pick. Yeah, that wasn't it. Here it is. Some reason you can see that it has a little bit of blue on the environment, but that can be from a reflection instead of the actual raw color or the cement color. Let's see if there's anything else we can work with. Well, you can see that there is also, you can see based on the values we take from here, you can see that there's a little bit of green in some areas, but again the lighting is also plays a big role. for everything. Yeah, I kind of like what I see over here. Just one color. Let's try this again. Too much. Too much. Let's try our own. You can see that I can take the gradient just from my own colors. Let's leave it at that. Let's take this. Let's take one of the gradients to place it. Or let's try maybe this. And let's use add linear. It's too much. So it's just going to work like this. Yeah, something like that can work. And let's place it over here. Okay, so we have a little bit more color variations. What if instead of add linear we used overlay? Kind of darkens it. Max lighten, it will whiten it. It's gonna make it a little bit. Well, this makes something entirely different. And let's go back with max lighten. Actually, this, what was this? Screen? No. Oops. Multiply? No. Subtract. Subtract is going to put a little bit, yeah. I think we can work with this blue, to be honest, because I like this. It kind of gives a different break on the rocks, on the bigger rocks at least, which is not bad. Kind of makes them like they have you know, some different color values, but it might just blacken out the whole image or darken it. Yeah, that's not going to work. Max lighten. Anyway, let's just add linear dodge. Let's crank it to see what it does. And that's a little bit too much. Let's go with 0.87. Yeah, that's something we can work with. And I want to change the saturation because it's too much. Let's at least pretend we are energy conservant. And let's play with these colors also, just to have some slight addition. Maybe a little bit darker green or olive green will work a little bit better, and this will go just multiply. Let's, instead of multiply, let's just add it. No, this just washes everything out, so we do not want that. Yeah, I think we are almost there. If I find something for this one, I think we are done, and we are over an hour. Yeah, I think if we add without the add linear dodge, yeah, this can work too, but I think a little bit of more of this, it's going to make it feel like it's more grounded. Okay, because it's dirt, but this might be a little bit too much. So let's add a curve node. And let's play with the values we can adjust. Nah. Let's remove this. Can we remove this? This might be too much. Let's delete it again. Let's place it. Let's say this. You can see that we can separate entirely the how the values work. Let's make this a little bit less linear. Let's try. I think it's the blue one, or not. Yeah, that won't work. Let's raise a little bit the red ones. No, that won't work. Well, this is an Instagram filter. Let's go back to RGB. Let's lower this. Let's lower this. Or let's see. Yeah, now I do not like the very black areas. Like, doesn't really make any sense that they are there. So let's try and find them. The black areas, I believe, should be from here. No, they are further down, and that's probably this area. Oh, it's from the grounds map. Sneaky grounds map. And so let's blend. Let's find either another grounds map. Let's try this one, I guess. Yeah, this kind of we still get some of these. Let's close this a bit and let's add a curve node over here. Now I hope you can see why I don't do them like this, and I prefer to just cover the entire substance. Just do it as a breakdown instead of creating it from scratch, because as you can see, we are just for the past half hour, I think we just work with the color, which it's fun, but I do not know if video purposes are fun. It's that much fun, because it's mostly, you know, just playing around and seeing what we can get and what we can work with. It's too much. We kind of want to go around the middle. And yeah, that's going to separate a lot the other areas over here, so we might want to fix them over here. I believe this, yeah, let's delete this and let's do something else with this. And I think if we kind of make this a little bit more subtle, it's going to work better. So let's go on a raw color, and it's from this grounds map. So what we can do is just add blur quality, high quality grayscale, add this over here and fix the intensity something 0.5 and something maybe 1. No, Okay, so it starts to blend everything together. Yeah, I'm not entirely happy with some of the areas, so you know what that means. We can go back. Let's see. We're almost there. And let's take one of these. Oops. Yeah. It would have been very nice if you would just sit there for now. And where does this go? You want to go over here and take this, blend this together. Let's use max lighten. Let's see if we can have isolate a few areas a bit more. Take one of these and then plug it back up, and this might give us on those dark areas, might give a little bit more information, and that really didn't have the effect I wanted. So yeah, there's a lot of back and forth, as you can see. No. Oh, have this also. Let's subtract of this. Yeah, this might work a little bit better. And as a final pass, I believe we could just take the ambient occlusion tool and do something with this. Gradient map. Oops. Blend, or actually if we reverse the ambient occlusion, then we get entirely all our separations back to match. So let's bring it back. More and more. Yeah, I think we're just, I think it's there's no need to keep tiring this a lot more. I believe I made my point. We have a cobblestone, part rocks, or a lot of rocks material, I guess you can say like that. Obviously it's more natural instead of hand placed, or they could have just been stones, I believe. Let's see if we do a rounded cylinder, how it's going to look. And yeah, it's not really that bad. Okay, we have our half cobblestone, half rocks. Now we might do another one of this, or actually so yeah, I paused it a little bit and did a few changes. Well, the only change I actually did from the point where I caught the video is that I went on the ground base and I've raised the histogram scan to 0.61, and yeah, this actually looks a little bit more man-made, like this cobblestone laid out with rocks, and we also get, we kind of make it look somehow entirely different than the rest material. Okay, so I think that's enough. This one was a little bit too much dragged. Okay, and it was a little bit of a different format than what we have done in the past, but I think, it might be interesting to see a little bit of a different workflow. So you can see the renders for this in ArtStation, okay, when they go public. So go there, give them a like, just so that I get a little bit more visibility. Of course, you can download this material and the previous material from my Patreon page. Okay, they are free. If you want to support me and keep making more, then by all means feel free to do so there. And yeah, as I said a lot of times before, we might do something entirely different next week. So I hope this wasn't too boring. Okay, but in the end we're going to, I believe everything we get and everything different we can see, it's a little bit of more constructive. So I'll see you on the next one.